Yeah, I'll pay for it.
Oh,
yeah.
you pay for everything.
Being a man, I'll pay
Well,
for everything.
And is that prostitution really then?
Yeah, it is prostitution.
Basically.
It is prostitution. You're exchanging.
Oh yeah, he uses. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it?
Of course it is.
Chivalry.
The word for that is called gold digger.
He says, I'll be blunt, the next stage is a coffin. He is trying to bring the entire bloody human race into conformity.
And how far would you go?
I would die for my freedom.
It's either that or live under the tyranny of mongrels like Hitler or Stalin. Pure mongrels.
This is your late night fix. Hey guys, and welcome to the late night fix. I'm Muzike with my co-host Hazza. How you going, man?
I'm going very well, and exciting episode now. We're up to episode 6. This episode, standing out, it's all about conformity or non-conformity. We're joined by Dave again and Henry. Welcome to the show.
How you going, guys?
How are you?
Good thanks.
Dave, going well?
Going well.
Well fed? Just had dinner?
Just had a lovely, magnificent beef hamburger.
Oh, beautiful.
Beautiful. So the late night fix is all about controversial, unconventional topics. And today we're actually just going to explore that a bit further. We're talking about conformity. Both of you have had experiences with this topic. Henry, in our last episode, you spoke about how you broke away from your regular 9-to-5 job and you decided to go out on your own 2 feet. You went down the Uber road and you were your own boss, right?
That's correct.
Yeah, absolutely. And Dave, you've certainly got strong opinions that don't necessarily align with what the majority of people think. Would you say that's true?
I'd say that was true.
Yeah, okay. So I think this is a topic that we can all talk about with ease. Do you feel today, is it easy to stand out? Is it easy to do your own thing? Is that acceptable? Henry, you first.
Yeah, definitely.
You feel comfortable doing your own thing?
Everyone has got to do their own thing.
Do you care about what other people think of what you're doing?
To an extent, yes.
To what extent?
As long as it's not harming anybody.
Okay. But say your parents didn't approve of your job choice, Uber.
Yeah, I'm lucky enough my parents didn't judge me on that.
Okay.
So a profession that does not require master's degree or any degree at all. Or
they've never raised their eyebrows or expressed any, sorry to press your button, so to speak, but they've never expressed any disappointment in what you've done?
Yeah, I'm lucky in that way. I feel blessed that my parents let me do whatever I wanted.
Excellent. That's great. What about your friends and people in your peer circle? Are they as accepting?
Yeah, I do have friends that they think it's a lowly job or they think is not for them. But I do have friends where they're quite impressed from the payslip.
Absolutely. Okay. Excellent. And it hasn't stopped you, has it? It's never caused you to doubt what you're doing or to second guess yourself, has it?
Not at all.
Not at all. Okay.
Yeah, I look at the freedom and mainly the freedom.
Wow, it's very brave of you to have done what you've done. A lot of people wouldn't have the bravery to stand out from the crowd, so to speak, and do what you've done and rely completely on Uber for an income. Good on you. Dave, let's move on to you. How about yourself?
I agree totally with Henry. There's an item here and it's called integrity. Now, he happens to have enough of that to be his own man. But he says there's no cost. I've found there to be it can be quite a cost, but I'd rather be my own man or I'd rather be Jesus Christ, to tell you the truth, than anyone else's man. I believe in a literal devil who set himself up against the sovereignty of God, and he is trying to bring the entire bloody human race into conformity to his will.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
So things like reputation, popularity, acceptance, belonging, do those things influence your decisions?
No, they don't, because if people can't accept me for what I am, I'm not willing to compromise. I'll give you a very interesting illustration. I was up in a domain once, and there were two blokes from the railway, and one professed to know the Bible really well, and he did, and he said, you can get two people, both opposed to a belief in God, and one might be prongly favoured the other way.
Okay.
And he said, in light of that, how am I supposed to make up my mind? Because it's two people possessing these varied beliefs. And about 10 minutes after that, I started getting up and preaching from the Bible. And both those blokes came up to me and in opposition to the laws of debate, they started screaming at me and yelling because they didn't. And these are the blokes that said, how are we supposed to make up our minds?
But that didn't stop you from speaking your mind, did it?
All I'm saying is, mate, that these people were entirely inconsistent. And then this lady came in and she broke in and said, why don't you give him a go?
How honest do you think you can be publicly with people? Do you feel like you can honestly, both of you, by the way, Henry and Dave, because I'd like both of you to talk, how honest can you be in expressing yourselves? How honest do you think you can be today in expressing what you believe?
You can express what you like, mate. The reaction, what you're going to get can vary from.
Well, that was a nasty reaction that you had.
I had this bloke. I was up in Queensland, and out of not Bundaberg, that other joint. Anyway, Gladstone, and the ganger. We used to go out every morning on a tricycle and maintain the track. And I don't know how it came across, but it became obvious I was a Christian. And the ganger said, so we have a disciple of Christ in our midst, do we?
He was being sarcastic for people that didn't pick up on that. Yes.
And from then on it was Jesus... ... Christ.
So he was testing you in a way, trying to antagonise you?
Yeah,
did you react?
I didn't.
Okay.
But what's interesting is even if this man might have been totally unaware of it, he wasn't hurting me. He was hurting himself because he was digging a really great hole for himself.
Well, I think in a way he was, he wasn't. He wasn't sort of making himself out to look very good.
No, not at all. But I don't know. He had this violent hatred towards Jesus Christ. He's talking about some other bloke who was crook. He was ill. You know, he's a Christian bloke, some local bloke, and he says, but Jesus Christ didn't do him much good. Anyway,
that's all right. Henry, we might cut across to you. How honest do you think you can be? Do you feel like you can be perfectly honest with people?
Oh, there is a price for being honest. I've had Uber passengers who want to speak about the vaccines and that is their main goal. They go on the Uber and they want to test their Uber drivers if he's vaccinated or not.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So how do you respond?
And I did give it to them. I told them, nah, I'm not getting vaccinated.
And what was their reaction?
Yeah, I've had some grumpy passengers straight after that, after the revelation that I'm not second dose vaccinated, and he was trying to talk me into it. And I gave him a good talk about it, but it didn't turn out well. He gave me 1 star at the end.
So there was a price to pay.
That is the price to pay for being
but how did it affect him?
Honest. I reckon he lost for him to be upset over a conversation with somebody and he didn't like other people's opinion.
Yeah.
Well, there's someone who don't like other people's opinion and
there has to be mutual respect, doesn't there?
Yeah, I totally respect his opinion. He's got this idea of how everyone should be vaccinated, like the whole population, 100% of the population should be vaccinated. It's not acceptable if you're not vaccinated, being an Uber driver.
But everyone's got a right to opinion. Even you do as well.
Yeah, opinion and the right to not be vaccinated.
Some people might argue, though. Sorry, I just want to sort of challenge you here. Some people might say that it's not opinion; it's known. Vaccines prevent harm. That's a fact. It's not an opinion at all. There are facts, and there is falsehood. So, how would you respond to that?
Well, I do have a good source. His name is Dr. Mike Eden. He's from 2011 Pfizer ex-vice president.
Okay.
From 2000, he was a vice president in year 2011 for Pfizer.
Mm-hmm.
And he spoke about how it's an unsafe practice if you giving to the masses.
To provide the vaccine to the masses.
A new medicine for the masses.
Okay.
And he spoke about how this vaccine has got spike protein, something that they never done in history, in the history of vaccines.
Dave, you're in favour of the vaccine as far as I know.
I'm in favour of it because from the evidence that I've been able to ascertain, I thought it a reasonable thing to look. Can I give an illustration? Some people are against the vaccine because they say, well, this particular vaccine has to administer it, you have to take a pre-shot of something comprising antifreeze and something else. And you know, my reaction is...
in other words, there is some misinformation. That's what you're saying?
Yeah, but I'm saying my dad died of cancer. If it meant taking thallium or rat poison, he would have taken it. Or to give you another illustration, Mum was nursing polio patients, and she said anyone that refused to take the Salk vaccine when it came in 56 was a fool. But the fact that, I mean, look, there's all sorts of substances out there. There's a substance derived from funnel web venom used for treating heart disease.
Yeah.
But there's all sorts of things.
Is it difficult sorry to interrupt, but is it difficult for you to accept anti-vaxxers, their opinions?
No, they're entitled to their opinion. They can act on whatever info is available, but even when you're taking ice cream, you could be drinking a flavour formed from paint thinner or rubber compound.
Okay.
They'll use anything to achieve a given effect.
So
in minute quantities.
Okay, I understand. So many things are toxic in the right quantity.
Yeah.
Okay. That's interesting. It's certainly true. Yeah, absolutely. It's certainly true. Let alone your father, but you yourself had cancer. You had to endure several months of chemotherapy with side effects.
I'll never forget the time I accompanied my son at his request to do his final year of medicine. And I woke up the next morning up in Ballarat and I got these heavings in my chest. To make a long story short, I ended up in a GP's up in Dandenong and he says, well, I'm sending you to a radiologist. And that happened. And I saw the woman that took the photos and I saw she was holding the photos up to the light and I saw her jaw drop and her eyes widen. And she says, you better get back to the GP, which I duly did. And he called me into his office.
Wow.
And he says, are you a praying man, Dave? I said, I am. He says,
yep.
Well, that's good because you better start praying now because you've got a growth as big as two large men's fists in front of your kidney. It's called lymphoma cancer.
Wow. And
he says to take a scalpel to cut it out is a really risky operation because it's right beside the aorta And if the surgeon slips and cuts the aorta, you're dead meat.
You didn't need surgery in the end, though, did you? It
Yeah,
was
but
all-
let me finish.
Sorry, okay.
He says, right now,
Yeah.
you're at stage 4. I said, what do you mean by that? He says, I'll be blunt. The next stage is a coffin. And that's no more than a month away.
Wow.
So he says, I'm sending you back to Sydney. So they brought me back to Sydney and they put me on the chemo. And at the moment, I'm speaking right now, they got it down to the size of a walnut.
How many years ago were you diagnosed?
Oh, I don't know, about 7. I lose track of
pretty
a lot
good.
of things. But so there's that little story.
Well, you're alive and kicking. There you go.
Yeah. And I think I'm under an obligation to God, that I got an extension.
Yeah, well, it's a testament also to your own strength and also to the knowledge of the team around you, the doctors that have.
Yeah, I know, and I owe him a great debt, mate.
Yeah. Yeah.
Especially that German hermatologist, Dr. Werner.
Just to get Henry back on. So, what price would you be willing to pay to express yourself truly for true freedom? Would you be prepared, for instance, to be honest about what you believe? If it meant going to jail or prison, would you? I mean, how far would you go?
I would die for my freedom.
Same here. I think I would die for my freedom too. Yeah, a lot of people have died for freedom in wars and conflicts, haven't they?
That's right.
Yeah.
Throughout history.
Throughout history, yeah, people have paid the ultimate price for freedom for all across the world. Our own war veterans in the First and Second World Wars, the diggers, and all the conflicts that Australia's been involved in. Absolutely. I think freedom is something worth dying for, and Winston Churchill said words to that effect, if I'm not mistaken. Would that be right?
It is.
I think so. I think he may have said something like that.
It's either that or live under the tyranny of mongrels like Hitler or Stalin, pure mongrels. But all, as a matter of interest, all the disciples of Jesus Christ, bar one, died hideous deaths, mate. This is the proof of the pudding.
Yeah.
But this is what it takes to get to be an individual and not a conformist.
Absolutely. And I think another really interesting situation is the situation in China at the moment. So China's sort of annexing territory. The situation in Hong Kong is a good example, and their attitude to Taiwan. So Hong Kong at one point was a fully fledged functioning democracy, and the old system, or the promise was that you would have one state, 2 systems. It doesn't seem to be going that way now. What do you think of that, Henry?
Oh, I haven't looked into Chinese politics yet.
Oh, okay. But just the fact that you've got a democracy, in Hong Kong with the right to free expression and whatnot.
They don't have last time I checked. Like when you visit mainland China, you're restricted access to many parts of the internet, such as Google, YouTube, Gmail even.
Would you tolerate that here in Australia? How would you respond to that if our...
Oh, I know the Australians wouldn't tolerate with it. Imagine telling Australians that you no longer be able to get on Facebook or any other Western media.
Have you noticed there's heaps of cameras in China in the streets and all that? They're doing surveillance.
Oh, no, I've only been to China like a few times, 6 cities, but I'm not an expert on China at all.
Oh, okay.
No, that's fine. There's a very famous book called 1984 by an author called Aldous Huxley, and it's about the police state and surveillance. And the notion is of Big Brother. So the government, like the show Big Brother, the reality TV show.
This is Big Brother.
This is Big Brother. But the state it puts the population under constant surveillance. Do you think things are getting that way?
Oh yeah, with all these QR check-ins.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
That things are heading that way.
So in a way, you think it's like controlled.
Yeah, in the end, the government can see who is the most checked in and in which place people go the most.
As an individual, do you think it's important to have some degree of control over your privacy, over your own affairs without interference from the state? What do you think about that?
I have no idea about that.
Well, for instance, you spoke about social media.
Yeah.
You spoke about the right to choose to be vaccinated. You don't feel like that should be compulsory.
Yeah. Oh, I just want to make sure
Yeah.
it's still in place.
So you should.
But
Yeah. Sorry, go on.
the history must not repeat.
What do you
itself.
mean? What do you mean?
For example, 1960s Nuremberg Code, how they had to execute 7 doctors all up for experimental medicine on patients.
During the Holocaust or something like that, was it?
Yeah, it happened in Germany.
Okay, I'm not aware of
It
that.
earned itself as the Nuremberg Code.
So that would have been a classified program or something like that?
It's official.
Yeah. But they would have declassified it after many years or something.
Yeah, and it's happening right now, how they had to give vaccines to the masses. We're looking at the whole world all in the same year, 2021. Everyone's getting vaccinated at the same time.
What would be the result, though, if they didn't vaccinate enough people en masse? What would happen?
Well, COVID is less of a threat than influenza for young, healthy people. A little bit more of a threat than influenza for older
You know
generations.
you think that based on statistics or
Quoting from Dr. Mike Eden,
okay.
Pfizer's ex-vice president, 2011.
I don't know about that.
He says that personally.
Okay, I'll have to look into that.
There was a
I haven't
YouTube
heard
video
that.
on him.
So I'll go by his words since he's a virologist.
You know what? That's fair enough because vaccine hesitancy is popular. There are many people who have chosen not to go through with the vaccine. And the point is that there is division amongst the experts. There's this thing, I suppose, called the body of professional evidence, or what the majority of professionals believe, or the majority of experts believe. I suppose that does affect public confidence, doesn't it? If there's division, or if there's one or two or a handful of experts that sort of doesn't conform with what the majority believe. Is that what's affected you? This doctor who said, "Oh, hang on a sec, this vaccine." Yeah, is that
No,
sort
the
of
proof is right in front of us. Like you have to be tested to know you got COVID or not.
Oh, I see.
So you
It's
can
not-
be all healthy,
It's not
all
based on-
running around,
Okay.
and all of a sudden, someone has got to tell you that you actually got COVID, and you don't even know it.
Well, that's true. There is that notion of asymptomatic transmission, but there's also usually when they're encouraging people to get tested, it's if you have particular symptoms, right? Like if you have cold and flu symptoms, or
And they have declared that even if you don't have symptoms, you have COVID.
you can though, and
You can. That's right.
and
That's
you
what
can
they-
transmit it to others.
That's how dangerous it is.
So there you go,
That's
yeah.
how not dangerous it is.
Okay. I don't quite follow, but I'll have to think about what you've just said. I'm not
Well,
sure I
we'll look at
completely
it
follow
next
what
month
you're
when
saying.
everyone starts
Yeah.
traveling
Yes.
in the middle of travels, and their travels get ruined because they say you got COVID, and you wanna about to jet off to Hawaii or Japan,
Well, it causes inconvenience, I must say.
and then now you have to self-isolate for 14 days.
One thing I must say that is known is that in a country like Israel, for instance, where most of the population have been double dosed, they still have had outbreaks. That's correct?
Yeah, now they're up to what? Their third booster shot?
Okay.
Third or fourth booster shot?
I think
right?
the third.
Yeah.
So what's the notion there that they're then susceptible, or it promotes more resilient strains of COVID?
It looks like the vaccine's not working for Israel.
Well, it might be similar to antibiotic resistance in a sense. You use antibiotics, use stronger ones, and then eventually you just get these super bugs that are resistant, right? that are resistant to the highest and most powerful antibiotic, and there's nothing left to fight with. So I don't know. I'm certainly no expert in COVID, but I suspect that might be what's happening.
See, there's another, misconception. The government's trying to trick you, thinking that all these COVID variants are like all different to each other.
Okay.
They're tricking you. They're thinking that way, but it's not. They're almost very similar, like 99% like similar, no matter what it is.
But they're still different. Sorry, go on.
The difference is not enough to fool your immune system to treat it as a different virus.
So even if it's mutated, it's a new strain.
Yeah, even the virus has mutated, and even the 2003 SARS has like 80% similarity to COVID-19.
I think there's a lot about COVID that's unknown. That's part of the difficulty. I realise and I concede that you're telling us things about COVID, certainly, but there are many things that are proven.
Only from one teacher, like online teacher, which is Mike Eden from 2011. He didn't have to say much.
I don't know much about him.
But he does tell us that, we do know a lot about virus and he's the expert on the virus, but we don't know much about the vaccine. That is the problem.
Well, what I actually wanted to ask you is, do you know where the virus originated from? Do you believe it's leaked out of the lab in Wuhan?
Oh, I have no idea where it came from.
Okay.
You don't think there's some conspiracy about the origins of COVID?
I have no idea about that. To me, it doesn't matter which part of the world it came from.
I know you don't know, but I'm asking you what you think. So do you think that there could be a conspiracy? Do you think that there might be?
It was like man-made.
Yeah, it looks like China is being targeted, being a new superpower. It is.
Oh, okay.
I believe China is the future. I have been there. It is a very advanced nation, a very powerful nation, and it can easily take over America in no time.
Yeah, but it's interesting you say that, because at the start of the episode you spoke about not conforming and being able to talk about whatever you like, say whatever you like, and you don't really mind if people agree with you or not. You're still going to be honest and express what you feel you need to. I'm not sure you could do that over there. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Probably in China, you probably get arrested if you speak against the government. Or in Russia even.
So is it like similar to like North Korea in a way?
Maybe North Korea as well, but Australia is known for free speech, free country.
Yeah.
You enjoy those.
Although it is turning upside down at the moment through the mandatory vaccination. This is something that North Korea does.
Yeah. Aside from that though, aside from the vaccine issue, are you happy living in Australia?
Oh, I love Australia, being multicultural.
Yeah. And other reasons? But you enjoy living here, right? Would you live anywhere else in the world, do you think?
The world is a nice place. Yeah, having been to 98 countries, it's all about who you are. No, it's not where you are.
Okay.
So you prefer to live in Australia than anywhere else?
Yeah, at the moment, like to be close with my family.
Yeah.
Okay. What about you, Dave? Do you call Australia home?
I really love Australia and its values, but I might revert to what Henry said. Well, he made a reference to Nuremberg, and do you realise that he was speaking of the trials at Nuremberg, but prior to that, when the nasty party held their rallies, there were people taking tally of those that wouldn't raise their hands in the nasty salute. Now, to a lesser or greater extent, you can get opposition to nonconformity.
Yeah.
By noodling tactics, ranging from that to outright burning of buildings, books, you name it. I'll give you one tiny example. My grandfather, as a London orphan, went on board sailing ships 1893. Dad was he was a craftsman, and he built this. Actually, he built quite a number of model ships, but this particular one we brought to Sydney with us, and I made it my business. I haven't done the rigging yet, but I've been working on the ship's wheel. I took it to my workplace. I had it on the bench in a matchbox-sized box next to the vice, and I came. It had a brass insert. It was about 20 mil in diameter. It was what's that hard plastic? That original plastic. Come on, Bakelite. Anyway, I came back one day. Yeah. Someone had got it within their hands and just crushed it.
Okay.
Now, the reaction of my brother was, Reginald, he's a panel beater down in Young. He said they wouldn't even have the guts to be different, and that's entirely true because I'd stepped out of the bounds of conformity, and a lot of people don't like that. You know, you don't bet on the horses, you don't do this, you don't do that. You're not the full quid. I've been told it to my face more than once. So that's just an illustration.
I think for a lot of people, they probably feel trapped by expectation, and also they might be dependent on their family for income and money and support, and so there is a price to pay for not conforming. You lose the support of your family. Your older brother, for instance, had a Jewish girlfriend at one point whose family was very traditional, and they didn't support the relationship, as far as I know.
They broke it up.
Yeah, and so she certainly could have followed her heart. I'm sure there were some mutual feelings there, but the family pressure was just too much, and love was not enough to sustain that relationship.
No, it was pretty. They make it very evident and very oppressive, mate, when you have to put up with that day in and day out.
Yeah, so there is there is the notion that your family won't support you, but if your family's actively disrupting you or causing you harm because of a choice you've made, that's an entirely different situation. I'm not sure whether the majority of people would be willing to pay that price, estrangement from their family, but not only that, but just almost abject terrorism from an overbearing parent or an overprotective brother or sibling.
We're seeing that happening today with, New South Wales, for example, is going to reach 95% fully vaccinated.
Here we go, yeah. Here we go.
I stress on the vaccination.
No, that's okay. That's okay.
It's because being an Uber driver, I had passengers who's telling me they don't want to get the vaccine.
Yeah, I understand.
They're forced to get it.
Yeah. For fear of losing their job or something. And it has
either
caused...
for work or to get into the pubs, to live their normal life.
And I have heard that differences between people about the vaccine have broken marriages. I have heard that.
Yeah.
So broken marriages, broken friendships. It's differences in opinion over the vaccine have certainly destroyed many a relationship over lockdown.
That's so true, yeah. Yeah, there's some girls thinking that, can't have a baby with a guy who is an anti-vaxxer.
Yeah.
Heard of that too.
You were almost getting married yourself at one point, weren't you? You had a fiancé. What happened there?
It didn't work out, right? And we planned a marriage. Mm-hmm. She wanted to get married, so we had a...
Were you in love?
No, not in love, but she wanted to get married.
So she did, but not you.
I just went along with it. Like, I didn't care what it was.
So hang on. If it
to me, it's just a party.
Okay.
But if you weren't marrying for love, what were you marrying for?
It was to help her get the Australian visa.
Wow.
Really?
She was from Bulgaria.
Wow.
And she needed the Australian visa.
But did she offer you any money for that?
No, she didn't have to.
Oh.
I was doing it for free.
Okay.
That's interesting. So that sounds like
I liked her.
altruism.
I liked her. I didn't mind getting married with her.
You must have had some feelings for her if you weren't taking
Yeah.
money.
Of course, I didn't mind getting married. It was a time to get married at that time.
You're still in touch?
But you did
No.
you did organize like a boat party or something.
Yeah.
But what happened? She called it off.
She canceled the wedding 23 days before the actual wedding day.
But why? Like, she wanted to get married, but
She said, no love in it. Like,
She didn't feel...
yeah, okay.
How did you feel about that?
it didn't affect me too much. And we had a party.
I was there.
Yeah. So it was like 30 people turn up onto the boat party at the harbour.
It was a wedding without a bride.
Yeah, but at least you enjoyed the boat party.
It was a really nice boat party.
Yeah.
Yeah, I enjoyed that party. No, well, look.
Either that or you can be at home like, being sad about life. But
Yeah.
Hey,
I wasn't sad at all, like, unfortunately.
But obviously she was probably upset because she wasn't seeing.
I invited to a party, but she didn't turn up. Like, I was like, you just come to a party anyway. But no, she didn't want to turn up. So
Were you in touch after that at all? Did you?
not much. No, it was meant to be.
So who ended up paying?
I'll pay for it.
Oh, you
Yeah.
paid for everything.
Being a man, I'll pay
Well,
for everything.
No, what? No, hang on. It's the 21st century. You don't have.
Well, if she paid for it, she would have turned up to the party.
Well, I thought equal rights for men and women involved sharing.
Oh,
like
100%.
Yeah. So how come?
Unfortunately, I wasn't that lucky. I paid for everything.
Oh, so she was a traditional sort of lady, was she?
Yeah, I picked the
No,
wrong
the
one.
word,
chivalry.
the word for that is called gold digger.
No, it's chivalry.
Are you sure?
Depends on your opinion.
Or I wasn't lucky enough.
Well, yeah. Who knows? And so where is she now? What's she doing?
I have no idea. Separate lives.
But hang on, didn't she have a kid or something?
Yeah, she had a son.
How old was the son?
I was like 9 years old at the time.
Okay. Did you know that?
No, not my thing. Yeah, marrying someone with already have a child.
Okay. Yeah.
Wasn't my thing anyway.
So I'm guessing she wanted to permanently stay in Australia to move away from a country or from.
Bulgaria is not a very wealthy country, from what I know. Is that right? It's
Yeah. It's not super wealthy country.
She might have
Eastern
been
Europe.
Yeah, Eastern.
But it's not that. People get all kinds of visa for all kinds of reasons. You got
Okay.
Yeah.
a lot of English people from the UK begging to get an Australian visa.
Indeed.
And
Yeah.
But what was her story? Like, why did she?
some people just love Australia.
Yeah,
so
for
much.
sure.
And people do that with every country.
Yeah.
You love a country, you try to get a visa for that country.
100%.
Oh.
Good on you for talking about that.
Yeah.
That's such a cool story. And I know
welcome.
a little bit about it too. Are you looking for opportunities to expand your business? Look no further than the Late Night Fix. With a worldwide audience and new content released every week, link up with us and watch your business soar to new heights.
So what are you waiting for? Get your business ideas off the ground. Don't miss your chance to feature on the electrifying new podcast that has stunned all the critics. So email us now on latenightfix@protonmail.com.
Hey, I just wanted to tail off with a thought. So there were some experiments conducted during the 1960s called the Milgram experiments, and it was testing conformity, basically, and how people are compliant with authority. And it was basically to assess how any of us would react if we had grown up in Nazi Germany. How would the average person respond? And the overwhelming conclusion is that any person would have just gone along with it. Hardly anyone would have stopped and stood out of the crowd and
Be a troublemaker.
yeah, exactly. No, most people don't want to be troublemakers, as you said, or a whistleblower or whatnot. They'll just go with the flow, right?
Yeah. I am on the dangerous grounds by being an anti-vaxxer, but I can afford to. Most people can't afford to.
What?
Their job's in the line.
Their job's on the line. Yeah.
And for some reason, Uber is not saying compulsory vaccination to drivers because deep down, maybe Uber knows that this vaccine is not good for us.
Okay.
Or maybe they don't want to lose the drivers.
That is,
Yeah,
that is
'cause they're shorter
hesitancy by
drivers.
itself.
Yeah.
If they're so confident with the vaccine, they would have made it clear to everyone, every organization would have made it clear that you must be vaccinated.
Yeah, I understand. So there's some clarity there with communication that needs to be resolved.
Yeah.
And another experiment I thought I would mention is the ASH experiment. So that's basically a person goes into a room, he's a study participant, and he's shown a series of puzzles that he has to solve with some multiple choice answers. He's in a room with actors, and they're all in there together, and all the actors choose the wrong answer, and the right answer is really obvious. So the first couple of questions, he goes with his guts and he chooses the right answer. But after a while, he starts to sort of doubt himself because the majority of people are choosing the wrong answer. And so towards the end of the experiment, they figured out that most people choose the wrong option if most people choose the wrong option. Most of us are sheep. Most of us go with the crowd, even if we know the crowd's wrong. Yeah.
That's right. Yeah, for many reasons.
For many reasons?
They don't want to lose friends.
Yeah. What else?
They want to get as many likes as they can on Facebook.
So it's hard to be yourself, isn't it?
Oh, if you're truthful about yourself, you have enemies left, right, and center. You speak the truth, you have enemies as well.
What do you think, Dave?
What I think, can I just briefly...
Hang on, sorry, I know you want to talk about that, but what do you think of what we've just spoken about?
Can you just reiterate that?
Oh, about how you making enemies by speaking the truth, by digging up the truth, by being too honest or too straightforward.
Well, Jesus did that when he criticised the Pharisees.
Would you do it though?
Oh, would I do it?
Yeah, would you do it?
I wouldn't have the guts.
Okay.
So
you'd go with the crowd even though you knew beyond a shadow of a doubt the crowd's wrong, you'd still go with the crowd?
No. I was just applying that to what Jesus did in the face of this.
I know, but you
applying it to myself in a crowd, I would like to think that I would have the independence of mind to stand up against it.
I think you would, because I do think that in many ways you do stand out and you do your own thing, and there is a price to pay for doing that. But that's my personal observation of you.
Can I just revert to something that was said about a former girlfriend on the boat? I think that's a very unjust thing to accuse this woman of being a gold digger when she'd obviously cancelled the marriage, cancelled her chances of becoming an Australian resident. So how can she possibly be called a gold digger?
Oh, no. Oh, sorry, Henry, go.
That's right. It was honourable of her.
Yeah.
To be.
She was certainly no gold digger.
That's right. She wanted love.
Yeah.
True.
She did say she cancelled a wedding because there was no love in it.
True.
Okay.
But she was expecting you to be paying for everything.
Yeah, I was just going to say that. I was just going to say that Henry did pay for the cruise. He did pay for everything, and she didn't contribute.
But besides that as well, you bought her things as well.
Yeah. Oh, well. I do know for a fact that she didn't have the money for it anyway.
Well, yeah.
But you did pay for many of, like Matthew said, you bought her expensive gifts, and you were under the impression that she wanted to be with you.
Yeah, it was pretty standard on that. Yeah.
And so you were kind of left at the altar.
Oh, no, I wouldn't call her a
speak.
gold digger, no.
No, neither would I. And I certainly, honor is important.
It is.
Yeah, honor is very important. And obviously, whether you're traditional or progressive, you respect the honor of the woman. That's completely true. Yeah, I agree with that.
I mean, like the way I say, like I'm not trying to say she's definitely gold digger, right? But in a way, you've been paying for her stuff, maybe buying bags, phones, jewelry, whatever, right?
Yeah, just like any man would.
Yeah. But the thing is, I guess you've gone a bit overboard, paying too much for it.
Yeah. So, sorry, go on.
And like, I think in a way you said both man and woman should be equal. So like,
Yeah. But that doesn't mean that Henry owns her because he's bought her all this stuff. Like
No,
that,
I'm
she's
not saying that.
No, of course not. But
Yeah.
but a lot of men would think that I paid for all these things, and now you've done this. Like she can't have a mind of her own. Like, I mean, she's still her own woman, right? Even though you've paid for all these things, would you say, Henry?
Yeah, she had her own mind.
So you were disappointed in her decision. I can understand.
Oh no, I wasn't disappointed at all.
You weren't?
No, not at all.
Okay. Were you happy with the decision?
Yeah, I was just doing her a favor.
But she didn't go through with it. So how did she benefit? Favor, like the favor?
Yeah, it was me doing a one-way favor for her, serve on a platter.
Okay.
She didn't want to take it.
She didn't. Okay, but she
so
didn't.
that
take
rules her out as a gold digger
That's
automatically.
It. But she's still got all the handbags, the jewelry.
Yeah, she's got all that,
the lavish gifts.
Yeah, but she didn't get her chief objective, Australian citizenship.
That's even more valuable to her.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. We might.
Yeah, interesting.
It's interesting. It's interesting. Great story though. Do you have anything more to say about that, Dave?
About what?
The gold digging or the not gold digging?
Yeah, we don't want to be too hasty in jumping to conclusions and calling people names, which I think she came across as a woman of honour. The fact that she didn't end up marrying someone she didn't love in order to obtain Australian citizenship. I can see that's as clear as cut glass to me.
But Henry, you did mention that she didn't have money.
Yeah.
So obviously you would have to pay for everything for her. So
That's right. Otherwise there'll be no boat party.
In your mind, what is a gold digger?
Someone out for their own gain.
And then divorce after 6 months.
Yeah.
Divorce. Okay. Have you ever met someone like that?
Yeah.
Oh, countless.
Yeah, there's lots around.
Well, that's just, I mean, is that prostitution really then?
Yeah, it is prostitution.
Basically.
It is prostitution. You're exchanging.
Oh, yeah, users, yeah.
Yeah.
Is it?
Of course it is. It fits all the criteria, mate.
Well, it's grey, isn't it?
Call it anything else you like to call it.
Look, I've seen like those YouTube videos where they catch the word gold. They catch gold diggers, with flashy cars. So like they've got Lambos or Ferraris.
Yeah, like Vitali.
Yeah, and they drive around the beach and they talk to the girls and all that. You can see how they react.
Fake, aren't they? Half of those are kind of set up with actresses and.
I guess I could be set up as well too, but you can see how the girls, how they act and all that. It's all about image.
Do you find that some girls can be, or some, not just women, sorry, but some people can be superficial or materialistic? They just care about your money.
Yeah,
and the guys care about the looks.
Yeah, See, the thing is, at the end of the day, it's all coming down to image.
That's not enough to sustain a relationship, surely, though. If you've got a man that's simply interested in looks and a woman that's simply interested in money.
Just superficial. It's no depth to it. It can't last. It's going to be self-destructing.
What makes a relationship last then?
True love and fidelity and deep values through thick and thin. It's not just the good times you're looking at, it's the bad times too.
What has made you such a fantastic husband?
I hardly qualify for that, mate.
I think you're qualified.
Yeah?
You made it.
Yeah.
You're still married after all these
years? Well, it's been a tremendous battle, I must say.
Yeah, you made it. Congratulations.
Thanks, mate.
Half of the population wouldn't make it.
Yeah.
Round of applause.
Round of applause. Round of applause.
Well, I've been through some battles, mate. I think this would have to be.
It's tough.
Yeah.
I've looked at some snippets from Married. Sorry, were you going to say something?
Nothing.
No? I've looked at some snippets from Married at First Sight. Have either of you seen that show? Have you seen that show on TV?
I don't watch trivia.
I must say, it's trashy.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the contestants they deliberately match people in a way that causes tension and arguments and drama.
Yeah. But there's another TV show called Love Island, I think.
I've watched that too, yeah.
Crazy, man.
Yeah, but the producers create those situations. They enable all that conflict, I suppose. But in a sense, relationships are pretty tough. Yeah, and like you said, you've got to take the good with the bad. You said that yourself. That's true. Would you say, Henry?
Oh, 100%. Most people flee when things get tough.
Yeah.
Yeah, they run off, don't they?
Not in it for the long haul at all.
Not at all.
Only for the good short bits.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you seen that yourself, Henry?
I've seen that in me. That's me.
Okay. Oh, you run off or people run off?
Well, I run off as soon as things get tough and vice versa.
Yeah.
But that might be then. I mean, love is hard to define, I suppose. It's not something that's easily. There are many adjectives that go with love, but how would you describe love, Musique? How would you? Yeah, it's hard.
It is hard,
Yeah.
but
That's why I'm unsuccessful.
yeah.
That's why I'm unsuccessful
Well, how do you?
in that regards. In
Okay.
love department,
Well, what is love to you?
love is someone who is married and stay married.
No, but the feeling or the emotion. How do you describe it? Yeah, like you can describe anger, you can describe frustration, sadness. How do you describe love? It's hard.
It's probably hard because you haven't really been in love, so it's hard to.
Never been successful in it, so no, I'm the wrong person to ask.
What about you,
They
Dave?
say love is God. Well, he did the ultimate in sending Christ. When
It's unconditional.
unconditional.
Okay,
But
it's unconditional.
I'm not comparing
Good one.
myself to Jesus Christ, but I must say early in my marriage, I saw my firstborn son, and my wife and myself were having an argument, and he was in tears, and I thought, I'm not going to abide this. I said, I'll bend over backwards to do whatever it takes, but I'm not going to inflict this sort of terror on my son. And I don't know, mate, right or wrong, I've been trying to do that ever since.
Wow. Gee.
It's a hard call, mate, a real hard call.
That's an incredible sacrifice for not much return on your investment.
Yeah, I reckon.
Yeah.
I reckon.
I think that example sort of encapsulates the concept of love in a big way.
Well, if you want to see, if you want to see the encapsulation of love, you read Corinthians, where I read it out on number 2 son's wedding up at Fingal Beach up in near Tweed Heads, where St. Paul says, without love, we're just a tinkling bell and a clanging cymbal. It's you can go on with all the friggin' words you like, mate, and unless you manifest all these attributes,
Okay.
and words are no substitute.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. It's something that's lived out.
Yeah, it's got to be lived out.
Okay.
You can go on with clanging words and like our friend, the Führer. He was
Not my friend.
No, besides being a fraud, he manipulated words and said the things that people would like to hear, and lies were dressed up as truth. So if you want to see the opposite, you don't have far to look, and you can see it occurring daily around you.
To go full circle, we were talking about conformity before.
Yeah.
Many people don't marry for love. People marry to please their families.
Yeah.
People marry because their parents approve, or they marry into money. Or, like Musique just said, they marry for superficial reasons, for money or looks. But how many of us really marry for love? That's something that I think I'll leave the audience with there. Thanks, Dave and Henry, for joining us.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
Pleasure.
Thanks for having me.
No worries, man.
Okay, so that's all for the Late Night Fix. Musique, signing off, please.
Yeah, thanks, guys. So I hope you guys enjoyed this episode 6 and stay tuned for the next episode. See ya.
Bye.
his brother-in-law called me, said, listen, keep him there because if he come here, the people's going to kill him.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, they came here with the guns,
Kick-
the TV,
yeah.
kicked the TV,
Yeah.
and they broke the glasses and cut the finger. There's blood everywhere.
Wow.
If someone is open the door, it's lucky, someone is killed someone there. I think about it now. That was big mistake to make to marry. That was I wasn't ready for that.